Hey, option traders, this is Jeff. I thought that I would add to my post on the intuitive earnings play just to show you a little bit about where my thought processes were as I was going through this trade. Again, like I mentioned on the blog, I got this idea from a friend of mine who lives in town here with me, and we communicate every once in a while. And he's been doing some spreads that I can't do in my IRA because it would involve uncovered short calls or naked calls. But he told me that basically what it is you can cover those short calls and short puts by doing a long call and a long put at a different strike, which effectively ends up being an iron condor. And he said that he got the idea from a Tasty Trade video from last week where they talked about this kind of strategy to use as an earnings play. Now, I've looked at a couple of different stocks, and it doesn't always work for all of them, but for some of the high flyers like Google and Chipotle, whose earnings are this week, and I find here Intuitive Surgical is another high flyer that definitely looks good, looks as a good candidate for this type of trade. Now you can see it structured here. Basically, it's a iron condor, and the shorts are at 590 and 500. And I stretched out the longs. I made them 20 apart, $20 in strike apart. So the longs are at 610 and 480. I get a total credit of $4.02 or $402 if I hold on to this until expiration next Friday. Their earnings are Tuesday, I believe. So this would be a good play to possibly open up on Monday. I'll check into it and see where the price moves, and if the price moves a lot on Monday, then I'll just shift my strikes around to keep the same kind of risk profile here. Now you can also see that it's going to cost me, the risk here is $2,000 as shown here in the buying power effect right here, and that's basically going to be the risk. But what are the chances? Well, let's look at chances. We go over here and say set the slices, and we say break even on 421, which is next Friday, and then we say set the slices to the charts, and up pops a chart of Intuitive Surgical, and you can see where the break evens are. And let's look at, if you take a look at the last earnings, you can see that there is a pretty good gap here after that earnings announcement. How big is that gap? Well, from a percentage perspective, we can look at it by percentage if we go up here to the chart settings and go to price axis and say show price as a percentage and click OK. Now we can see over here on the right side we see percents. Let's look here. The stock closed at 30.44%, and then they had an earnings announcement and it dropped down to 22.47. So 30.44 to 22.47. Although that looks like a big drop, it is an 8% drop. But if we go back and we look here and say reset the slices, we can see that, let's put them to 5% steps. So if we were to be right here, this is probably about 7.5% right here, so we would be well within a 7.5 or 8% drop in the price, or 8% gain in the price. We don't really have anything to worry about. Another thing that we can look at is the market maker move, which is right now is set at about $10. And if it actually does do that $10 move, we're well within that too, very well within that. What are the chances? What are the chances? Well, let's take a look at a little bit of historical data here. I use Yahoo Finance quite a bit, basically because I'm just used to it. I've been using it for so many years. So we just bring up Intuitive Surgical here. And what I want to look at is the analyst estimates. Now they recently fixed this or enhanced this particular page, and it's pretty nice now. And what I wanted to look at here was the earnings history and what their percent surprises have been. And we're looking at 4% last March, last June of 7.5%, September 10.5%, and December 11.9%. I just want to get a feel for how it's been reacting to earnings and how earnings have been actually to the estimates. And we can see here that right now the estimate is 3.14, and you can see also that the earnings per share are going to be climbing. Current year they're estimating 14.5% or dollars per share, and next year they're anticipating almost $17 per share. The thing about Intuitive Surgical, they don't sell a whole heck of a lot of their surgical devices, but the maintenance and the sales that they have for the disposables, you know how they want to keep everything so surgically clean, I guess you might say. So there's a big market for them in disposables for their surgery devices. And they're a very good company. I mean, their Da Vinci robotic surgery device is a pretty fancy machine. If you've never seen it, go to their website and look at some videos. It's really quite impressive. So let's go back to the actual trade again and see if there's anything else that I want to cover with you. Well, I wanted to also take a look at Chipotle, which is a little bit later in the week, and I might do a very similar trade on that one. Again, I got the short strikes way out here, actually about the same as Intuitive Surgical, at least as far as risk is concerned. And here I was just checking around to see what it would look like or how much risk I would be taking on if I did multiple iron condors. And I might consider doing that, especially if the one works for Intuitive Surgical. I might be doing multiples on Chipotle. And I may bias it also, depending on which way I feel the price of the stock may move. I can always move the center point for this plateau, I guess you might call it, or a mesa, some people have called it. I can always move this center point to bias it either bearishly or bullishly. So that's another thing to keep in mind when you're doing these kinds of trades. That's all I wanted to say about this one for right now. I wanted to keep this particular video a little bit shorter than usual. I wanted to get it out there. Hopefully it's Saturday night right now, so hopefully, yeah, this is what I do on a Saturday night. So hopefully I can get this out there early Sunday so everybody has a chance to take a look at it who wants to. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your time, and happy trading.